thing that I'm talking about actually is a real slowdown, a deep reconnection in a world that is extremely fast-paced and that requires externally a lot from us. And when we come into those slower movements, we come back into a deep remembrance of our womanhood.
And that we can feel pleasure as women.
Yes.
You know, we can feel joy as women. And actually, it's like a portal to more joy, to be in this body and to experience that. That sounds so beautiful. And I love that you add the somatic, like kinesthetic experience, right? To healing. Of like, let's feel and build new circuitry of joy, right?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mystical Davies Podcast and to my YouTube channel. I am Raman Rose, and today I have a special guest. Her name is Rathika Marsh. She's a beautiful...
Yes, it really is a vessel. It's a vessel of power for women and what they're activating. I run a holistic coaching certification because my background is in psychology. I've been a psychologist for 18 years, but I kind of cut through all the rules and red tape and brought in my own style and vibe to create a holistic coaching certification that honors spirituality, that honors different lenses and perspectives on healing, your own embodiment as a facilitator, who you are, your unique gifts, and poured that into a powerful certification.
Right.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Transform their lives and share their gifts, you know, and I think that's why I was so drawn to Rathika, because she is so authentic, and you'll see most of the guests I bring on here are authentic, and they're really delivering their medicine in such a powerful way. And Rathika, that's where I want to start. Like, you are iconic, I think, in and of your, you know, yourself. And I'm going to link your profile, your Instagram, so people can tune into that. But how did you like get into this field? Like, what were some challenges and what were some inspirations for you to get you into this path?
Yes. So I guess for me, I didn't realize until late into my 30s that I was suppressing so much, and I was kind of living like a dual life almost without even realizing it, hiding parts of myself, feeling these depths of shame around different parts of who I was. And I'd grown up creating a lot of separation and had a lot of secretive, sort of shameful behaviors. And I guess that sort of secrecy pattern continued for such a long time. And the journey for me has been, I guess, healing that and really claiming who I am, my confidence, and honoring the fullness of my potential. A lot of suppressing who I was, a lot of adapting, even though I'm a fiery person, a lot of adapting to what other people wanted, a lot of fear of missing out, still carrying so much of this pattern around desperation for love, desperation for validation, not feeling good enough, you know. And there just came a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
and went on a big healing journey. And then that really activated, this big question around, what am I doing?
Mm.
What am I doing? I am not meant to be here doing this traditional psychologist role, writing
Yes.
reports and, kind of being in all this red tape, being managed when I'm such a wild, free spirit.
Mm.
And I just had all of this creative expression then that started opening up and started the business. And it's kind of gone from there, really, and matured, developed. Um, yeah, I've kind of gone into different cycles and versions of myself that have come and developed through this. Parts of me that have fallen away, parts of me that have grown, new layers that have emerged, collapsing in that process, rebuilding something new within myself. And yeah, that's what I want for other women, that I really feel that we are here to live out the desires that are uniquely gifted to us, that we receive. We receive these, if you want to call them codes or messages, of I am meant to be wealthy, or I am meant to serve hundreds of people, or I'm meant to serve a small number of people, but I'm meant to serve in some way, or I'm meant to use my voice, or I'm meant to help people with their strength, but in a holistic way, whatever it is. And in that process as well, claiming what you desire for yourself, not from a place of wounding, but from a place of I can be that woman. I can be that woman who has the intimate, beautiful relationships, that has the business that she loves, that gets to travel, that gets to experience luxury, that gets to give back to communities if she wants to, and gets to thrive. Because so many women, especially, are in a space of just enough.
Mm. That is so true. That's beautiful. I think it's almost like you dared enough to believe, like, have the courage enough to believe you can, in essence, have it all, right? And that's not
Yes.
too much. Like, you're not
Yeah.
too much. Whatever your too muchness is, it can be your greatest gift and and blessing to the world. I kind of wanted to go back to the point around shame, right? Because I think a lot of us hold so much shame. And that's something I've worked on so much in my life and continue to work on. And so many women I meet work on bringing shame into the light, right? So could you talk a little bit about like what that shame to look like for you? Um, I don't know. Do you identify being South Asian? Uh,
Yes.
and especially in the South Asian community, I feel like a lot of women, especially in the diaspora who don't live in India, we're out in,
Yeah.
you know, in our respective countries, we can hold that and not know what we're holding sometimes, like
Yeah.
if we're holding our ancestry. So I'm curious, like, what that was like for you and how, women can really embrace that journey because it's so hard to bring the shame to
Yes.
light.
Yeah. I mean, the shame lives in the shadows. So we have these shadows, and the shadows are the parts of us that have been pushed away or suppressed and made to, I guess we identify those parts of ourselves as bad or wrong.
Mm.
So it's a little bit like if you were playing with a load of boys' toys when you were 3 and you were told, you're not, why are you playing with these boys' toys? You're a girl. You should be playing with the fairies like all the other girls. What's wrong with you? Right? If you start getting these messages from that age, you're going to quickly learn that playing with the boys' toys is not okay. And the part of you that identifies with joy in that aspect of your life at that age is somehow shameful. So you take that, you stuff it in a box, and you start playing maybe with the fairies because you know that you'll be loved more.
Mm.
So that's a simple example, right? But we have all of these experiences through education, through culture, through the experiences, for example, for brown women, for women of color, in this confusing identity as well of, do I belong in Western or Eastern culture? What's going on? And colonization, we've been shamed around our culture. So I held a lot of shame growing up in the UK, being a dark-skinned woman, growing up in Tamil Sri Lankan culture, but being in with white peers. And it was so shameful because the accepted thing was being white. So I had shame around even my skin tone, my food, my culture. And so that the powerful piece here is that the parts that we hold shame around hold so much magnificent power. So if we can invite in the parts of us that have been shamed, because it's not our shame, it's other people's shit, isn't it? That's been projected onto us. If we can invite those parts back into our life and explore what they actually look like now as adults, we can integrate them, we can bring them in so that we're leading from that place of wholeness. So a lot of women say, when I kind of started the business or as it was developing, I would show a real sort of sensual side, sometimes even like a bit of a sexual side. And a lot of women would come and work with me because they felt like they wanted that part of them activated. And the only reason I could show up with that sensuality was because I went on a journey of allowing it, of unshaming it, of making it mine, of loving that part of me instead of making it wrong.
So gorgeous. And that's why I was drawn to you too, is that, that deep embracing of the sensual aspect of self, which is such a huge part of us. And that's like the greatest thing, especially as brown women. We are like forced to almost push down, repress, or in the Western culture, overexploit, in so many ways. So it's like, I love the fact that you found that inner barometer and that inner compass of like, what does sexuality, sensuality mean for me? How do I show up as a sexual being for myself? And then giving permission to women, because I think a lot of the times when I've come across your content, it is a permission slip to open up to these different aspects of self. And yeah, thank you so much. That was so articulate, especially about the shame. Is there something else you would like to add? I could tell you have something you want to share. Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just
Oh,
just
okay.
sort
Yeah.
of
Okay. I could stop.
appreciating your
No.
your
Yeah.
reflections.
Yeah. So I think with that aspect, kind of going into the sexuality piece, I think that naturally comes from, I guess, almost like de-armoring and, melting the shame or integrating the shame, right? So
Yes.
there's so many gifts that emerge from owning those parts and integrating them, it sounds like.
Yes. And then when you feel like those parts of you are more whole within you,
Mm.
you are just leading from that energy. So it doesn't even feel like you're performing it.
Mm.
You don't have to perform like I'm in my sensual embodiment. You don't need to be in that kind of expression even because you're just embodying it in your energy.
Right.
So
Like
that
there's
so
like a deep just beingness. You're feeling it.
yes.
It's not about
Yeah.
how you look, you're in your senses with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you're talking about shame, and many times these traumas we experience, the generational stuff we experience, culture, society can numb parts of ourselves. So where we're not feeling or sensing our beingness, right?
Yeah.
So I know how I do that for myself, but I would love to hear from you how, as a coach, you help women navigate feeling their bodies again.
Yes. So it depends on who I'm working with and where they are on the journey, how open they are. So I bring in things like sensual embodiment.
Mm,
So first of all, I guess connecting in a very simple way with the body. So when you think of, say, the word sensual embodiment, people immediately assume that you're going to be touching yourself
mm-hmm.
in the most sensual, intimate parts of your body.
Right.
And sensual embodiment is about the experience of your presence with your body. So it can be as simple as noticing your breath.
Mm,
Or in the Academy of Healing, for example, we spent a good 25 minutes in one session where we just brought our fingertips to our faces. And we were so slow in just meeting our skin and really bringing presence to the touch of our fingertips to our faces. And it sounds so simple, but it brought people to tears because it was such a beautiful connection. And as women, we are actually taught to, for many women, we're taught to disconnect from our bodies because it's safer. For a lot of women have experienced abuse with their bodies, or they have abused their bodies because of from states of perfectionism and pressure. And so their body becomes a commodity. It becomes something that needs to look good for others, or that you have to, you have to restrict yourself, or that it becomes something that is punished rather than being something that is safe to thrive in.
mm,
So my work, I tend to work with women who are ready for that thriving. They're ready for pleasure. They're ready for pleasure. They've done so much healing work. And it's like they don't need to go into the pain. They don't
yeah.
need to keep going into the pain. We don't need to keep going into the pain. Actually, the most powerful part of healing is allowing yourself to experience pleasure, whether that is, you know, feeling, touching your face, touching your skin, um, noticing what your breath is doing, or it could be, a really gentle circular movement where you're moving so slowly, you're making a circular movement with your hips so slowly, and you're feeling all of the tiny activations in that very, very subtle movement. So everything that I'm talking about actually is a real slowdown, a deep reconnection in a world that is extremely fast paced
Mm,
and that requires externally a lot from us. And
mm,
when we come into those slower movements, we come back into a deep remembrance of our womanhood.
mm. And that we can feel pleasure as women.
Yes,
We can feel
yes,
joy as women, and actually it's like a portal to more joy, to
yes,
be in this body and to experience that.
yeah,
That sounds so beautiful, and I love that you add the somatic, like kinesthetic experience, right, to
yes,
healing,
yeah,
of like, let's feel and build new circuitry of
yes,
joy, right?
yeah,
So the brain can continually now embrace a new way of being, because I think that's also something I find in my clients too, and I found in my own journey. It was harder to expand into joy
Yeah.
invite in experiences. And it sounds like people can become stuck in the same place, even though they've been working on healing for years,
Yeah,
because they haven't
absolutely.
expanded into joy. They haven't built these new pathways. Would you agree?
Yes, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a familiar set point. So we are set depending on our experiences of life is gets to be this good. So
Mm,
say, for example, it gets to be a 3 or it gets to be a 5. And the set point is set at that 3 or a 5 rather than life gets to be a freaking 10
and
plus.
oh,
It
yes.
gets to be a 10 plus. It gets
Fuck
to be a
yes.
100. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are functioning from this place of it's like receiving scraps.
Mm,
You have the set point of receiving scraps. So in relationships, a lot of women, not everyone, but it's kind of relationships where you're just receiving the scraps.
mm.
You just receive the scraps with money. So you're just you're doing all right, but it
Yeah.
still feels scrappy.
Mm.
And it's not that abundant overflow that we are worthy of receiving.
Like the full harvest, the full meal.
Yes, the full
You
meal.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the pleasure, that's so linked to pleasure because it's not just about more money. It's about if we're talking about money, right? It's not just about money. It's not just about having the dream relationship. If you are not able to enjoy it, if you are not able to feel the pleasure of it, then it doesn't matter how long you've been with your partner for. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you cannot feel that connected pleasure with those things, then you will just be on the path of seeking more without the joy of it in the moment.
Right. The instant gratification without any of the depth, that the
Yes.
body is deeply calling for, like the soul is deeply calling for too,
Yeah.
on so many
Yeah.
levels. Yeah, that's beautiful. And how, like, there might be somebody out there who is stuck in that zone, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, I think working with someone like you, which I highly recommend working with Rathika, because I think this is what's necessary, like you may be, for example, you've done years of healing work and years of everything, but this may be the missing piece of getting to the next level. So if there's a woman out there stuck right now who's in that relationship where she's getting the scraps, right? Or she's just getting the breadcrumbs, what would you like to say to that woman? And
Yeah.
what would you, as the iconic coach, help the iconic woman,
Yeah.
tune into?
So a lot of women, actually, including myself in the past,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know how to respect ourselves.
Mm,
We actually don't know how to respect ourselves. We think we're respecting ourselves, but we allow the text message to even come or the DM to slide in or whatever that is like icky, you know and then you maybe respond to it. Do you see what I mean? And it's like, it's not self-respect, is it?
mm,
The self-respecting woman actually does not put up with bullshit,
mm,
and so she's not even going to potentially over time attract that energy. So I'll give you an example. I remember I used to walk around, even though I was married, and I just have this open energy. And it was almost like anybody could just come into my field.
mm,
And it wasn't a safe energy. It was just leaving myself open to vulnerability, actually, and leaving myself open to flirtation, leaving myself open. I wasn't giving a clear message of I respect myself.
mm.
And so my field is boundaried. you know? And we have to work on that piece around self-respect. So another thing is, where are we allowing those relationships, whether it's family or friends, where actually there are subtle layers of abuse,
Oh, yeah. That's
but
a
you
big
just allow it because it's family,
one. Right.
you know? And you just kind of put up with it.
Mm.
And actually it seeps into your being. It seeps into your being.
And
And
those,
when you,
go ahead.
sorry, go on.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
When you really start to respect yourself, you don't allow that good girl bullshit kind of um energy to be there.
Right. It's
And
like
I've
when,
experienced this recently, and
oh, have
it's
you? Please
led to
share.
a massive, massive
Yeah.
collapse.
Do you feel
And
comfortable talking about it like a little bit more?
yeah, I've had this long-standing relationship with my father-in-law and his
Mhm.
partner. Maybe let's cut that out, say with some family members.
Okay. Yeah, we'll cut it out.
And yeah, with some family members. And I spoke to my husband about this ongoing relationship that has been there for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to him about the level of disrespect I felt. I could feel my body was literally screaming whenever I had to meet up with these people. It was all this sense of unsafety, this sense of constantly treading on eggshells. And I spoke to my husband about it, who then spoke to those family members. And it led to a complete um, collapse of the relationship, but also a lot of gaslighting and abuse. And this is what women are scared of. I didn't realize actually I was sitting in fear for 25 years
Mm.
because it was like I knew underneath that if I detonated the bomb, if I lit the bomb,
It would all.
then it was going to go.
Yeah.
And it did, actually.
Mm.
And this is the thing, if you are standing in self-respect, in true self-respect, where you don't allow people to um, take the piss out of you, where
Yeah.
you don't allow people to tread on you and treat you badly, then actually some people will not like the response. And so you will be made to look like the evil one,
Yeah.
or the
Sure.
bitch,
Mm-hmm.
the one that's controlling or whatever it might be. And so it's a journey, actually, because when we say, do you respect yourself, a lot of people say yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
But actually really respecting yourself means that you are standing up for yourself. And standing up for yourself means that you speak up, or you don't tolerate behaviors that don't feel good.
Right. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. As women, when we start doing that, we start being called bitches. That's when people are like,
Yes.
you're a
Bitches and
bitch.
witches.
Right.
Yeah.
Bitches and witches, right?
Yeah.
And that's when you start becoming like othered immediately, right? In that space.
Yes.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
now you're not like bending over backwards, you're not giving the shirt off your back, right? And I
Yeah.
think those are the energy leaks you're talking about, is that women unintentionally and maybe even conditioned by society to be the good girl. And in that, we become like energy sources for people
Mm.
um unintentionally, maybe even. And that
Yes.
when you
Yes.
close those energetic leaks in your energetic field, you have more energy to give to yourself, which you get to pour out and invite in
Yeah.
what you actually want, what you actually want to
Exactly.
have a infinity loop connection with,
Yes.
right?
because otherwise you're that energy, like it's like if you think about energy as um containers, like glass vases.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're pouring four into, if there's six vases and you're pouring water into maintaining four of the vases with water,
Right.
but actually the four vases out of the six are energy leaks.
Mhm.
So it's being overly nice in your business
Mhm.
rather than feeding yourself, right? Constantly discounting your prices maybe, or and then you're not thriving, you
Mhm.
know, or constantly saying yes, even though you just feel exhausted and you want to lie down.
Mm.
Um, or even say for me, because I have a family, it's like, taking too much responsibility
Mm.
and not saying to my son, actually, you need to do the washing up, you know?
Right. Yeah. Right. Right.
So it's whereas if you it's like when you imagine, let me explain it another way. If you've got a vessel of water and it's got holes in it, it
Mhm.
doesn't matter how much water you're pouring in. So you keep giving, and it's all just leaking out of the bottom.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the energy leak. It's like, where are you exhausting yourself with patterns that just don't feel good
Mhm.
in your body? Everybody has these patterns, right? Where you're
Okay.
like, I've drank a
Absolutely.
bit too much,
Mhm.
get to the weekend, I drink a bit too much, or eating crap, or, staying on the Netflix too long, or scrolling at night when you know it's going to affect your sleep.
Mhm.
All of those things and are these little energy leaks, aren't they, that are
And that
pouring out.
scrolling is so easy to do. You
Oh
know,
yes, yeah,
that's
it
I'm
really
like,
is.
there's just so many things so like, they can fly under the radar of just like, oh yeah, I'm just like, I'll fix it tomorrow, but it becomes like a pattern and a personality trait over time. Like it becomes a part of you. And so you
Yes,
really have to be mindful that, these repeated patterns don't become like habitual things that are now your life. And if they
yes,
are your life, like how do you kind of really look at the energetic leaks and shift that around? Because it sounds like, and I work a lot with energy too, which is, you want to make sure that your energy is going in the right direction, right?
yes,
So it's
yeah,
not, so you're not depleted and you're actually living the life you want to live and not the one that you're conditioned to live.
yes. And so many women, without realizing it, are living that conditioned life.
Right.
What it, who you should be as a partner, who you should be as a woman of a certain age, who you should be as a mother. And when actually you get to create your own rules. But
Mm.
it's such a brave journey,
It
as
is.
I'm sure you know.
It is. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for helping women, navigate that because it's so hard, right? And I also know as like someone who holds space, how much you have to do it yourself. So you must have gone to deep, dark, depths for yourself because I truly believe to hold space for another, you need the training, you need all of that, but you also need to
Yeah.
be going there yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and so it sounds like you really are speaking from like a depth of, I hear your training, which is so beautiful, in this field, unfortunately, and in the wellness field, you don't have all of that together, the training
Yes.
paired with the experience, paired with the depth. Um, is that how you hold space for your clients too, I guess? Like it's like to kind of bridge all of it together.
Yes. Yeah. I work in like I guess uniquely according to different people.
Mm, yeah,
That's
sure.
the thing. Um, so it
It's like
depends on the kind
eclectic.
of container, but
Yeah.
yeah, but I bring in lots of different elements and the spirituality piece as well, supporting people with their soul desire, and unshaming that
Mhm.
desire, because we do hold a lot of shame around what we want
Right.
because of the societal stories. So the perfect example is wealth. You know, I know that really struggled with my desire for more
Mm.
money and what that meant about me and what
Right.
it brings up for other people as well, and the
Yeah.
judgment potentially around it.
Right. Not,
Um,
and especially as women, we're shamed for that too.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And the way that I work is supporting women to expand into the desire, but with that expansion often comes contraction,
Mm.
often comes a collapse because our nervous systems aren't used to this next level of operating. So it's like you have an experience where you are experiencing a 10
Mm.
of pleasure and joy, maybe something that you haven't experienced before. And then what can happen is that you go into a big contraction
Mm. Yeah.
where the logical mind comes in. You're like, why have I invested in this? Um, you know, I see it all the time with, if I'm investing in something or I'm making a big move with in life with something, and then I'm really excited about it. I know my soul wants it, but then I go into the collapse of um, the logical mind of, I can't afford this. Is this an irrational decision? Am I not being sensible? All the good girl, narratives come in, and that's where a lot of people get stuck and they go into a freeze.
Mm.
So actually, if we're desiring more, we need that support. Actually, we need the support systems to hold each other in the collapse,
Right.
lovingly hold each other in the
Mm.
collapse, but also to help us to unfreeze and to make movement towards what it is that we're claiming for ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a beautiful point. How we need to be held by other women who see what we're doing. Because in
Yes,
essence, what I've
100%.
noticed is not everybody's going to see that you're dismantling patriarchy from the inside
Yes.
out. And they don't even, I mean, the way society is structured, it goes against everything and the way the system works, right? So you
Yeah.
really need a support system, kind of congratulating you on that and holding you
Yeah.
through it and allowing the collapse of maybe the patriarchy or the colonization or whatever it is to unravel and have a tower moment is what it feels
Yeah.
like in safe
Yeah.
hands and still be like keep going babe,
Yes.
like keep going,
Yeah.
have your
Exactly.
moment, I got you, you're not insane, and if you are insane we're going to hold space for it, like the whole
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Like women,
Yes.
because I think one of the things, because I'm also a therapist, is like even the labeling of hysteria for women. Like we're not
Oh, yeah.
allowing ourselves to be hysterical, not put together, like untamed, right?
Yeah.
And so we need
Yeah.
other women who are able to be like, hey, I got you, like let me hold the mirror up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for the hysteria. It's
Mm-hmm.
like there's usually a reason, a good reason for the hysteria. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually some kind of violation that's happened that
Yeah.
has led to the hysteria. And, this crazy, when it's named, again, like crazy bitch, she's a crazy bitch or whatever, right? And actually, um, that part is that wild, fiery part shows us what is deeply important to us, what our values are, where it is that we need to be seen.
Exactly. And I love that you're saying that too, of like your hysteria, especially your moon cycle, will show you where in your life is, maybe
Yeah,
something is out of alignment or not in tune with who you are. So it's almost like you're teaching women, which I think it's beautiful, to read their symptoms and kind of scan the environment in their life, because it's
Yeah.
not, it's not like it's happening overnight. There's a reason for it, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's not, it's often depression or anxiety. It's a systemic issue. It's not actually an individual issue. It is the impact of patriarchy. It's the impact of the systems that you've been raised in. It's in family system, in education system, medical systems, systems and culture that have um, made you feel like you can't live life in the way that you desire to.
exactly. And
If
that's
you had full
painful.
permission,
Right.
yeah,
Go
it
ahead.
is.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
If you had full permission to live life fully as you wanted to, I can guarantee most likely that you would not be experiencing depression. You would
Exactly.
not be experiencing anxiety
Yeah.
because it's everything is in flow and in alignment.
Mm. Yeah, it's a painful reality, right? When you really do that
Yes.
reality check on yourself of that there are systems in place and the way the world works, um, it's designed to suppress so many aspects of self. And
Yes.
when you're unshackling yourself, it's gonna feel so like you're going against the grain. And what happens in that space? So if you have like a client who comes to you and is like, okay, I'm trying to dismantle the patriarchy, but patriarchy is pushing back, like I'll give you an example. I energetically was working through just recently I started clenching my teeth at night,
Mm,
like or grinding my teeth. And I know when something like that happens physically to me, and I've been
mm,
working a lot on my jaw and relaxing it and everything. Um, there is something. And when I sat with it in meditation, it was the patriarchy. It was the energy of the patriarchy being like, shut up. Like, I don't want you to talk. And it was energetic and I'm very sensitive to it. And I was just thinking about all the ways in my life that maybe I shut up because I
mm.
know it would be too much to push against the patriarchal like structures.
Yes. Yeah.
And if I'm feeling that and I feel like I'm pretty vocal, I'm like, how are like women across the board who have to work with certain men and the systems and women who uphold these systems, like how do you work around it if you live in the matrix, right? Because I feel like a
Yes.
lot of us have escaped it in our own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, a lot of women are in that transition of escaping it, and I
Yeah.
guess there's when you're in something, you live in one reality, don't you?
Mm.
Of this is what life is like, and this is therefore how life will be forever. And then it's not until you start dismantling it and you start seeing another reality and another perspective, and you start building the identity of the woman who can actually have that you then start going down the path of, oh, what if it doesn't have to be like this?
Mm.
What if I get to feel freer? What if I don't have to be in this job that where I'm constantly put down, you know? What if I actually do earn more than I ever imagined? Or what if what if actually I feared being alone all this time? So I've stayed in this unhealthy relationship. But actually, what if I fed myself and felt stronger in myself? So a lot of the work I do is supporting women with their identity and building that identity, that potential within them. And then it's like things naturally start to fall away. So that the woman that maybe starts to work with me might be tolerating certain things. And then over time it's like, no, I'm not tolerating that. I'm not tolerating that part of myself showing up, the sabotaging part of me, or I'm not going to tolerate actually that relationship in my life which feels harmful. So the more that somebody builds their identity for thriving, the thriving identity, the it's like the other systems that have been there are going to naturally fall away and collapse because of your level of tolerance. Because you realize you start shifting into the self-respecting woman.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you're really helping me shift my relationship with the word self-respect too, because I've seen, I haven't seen it as like even energetic leaks sometimes.
Mm,
So I love that. I love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share with women who are deeply sensitive and living in a
mm,
super sensitive body? Because this is what I usually meet. I either meet you know, the woman who's like the CEO type of energetic,
yeah.
makeup where she's like, go, go, go. She needs to slow down and get more sensitive, open up to her body, address maybe the numbness. And then there's the woman, and I think I fall in this category too. So you can address both of them or any shades of them. Um, Hypersensitive, maybe potentially super deeply spiritual, psychic, has her gifts, has opened
Mm,
up and is ready to crack to like the next level, right?
yeah.
So these different levels you address in a different way, but yeah, I'm curious what your advice to certain women on certain levels maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that you're saying that's really landing, I guess, when you're talking about this is each, I guess, type of person, if we're going to categorize in that way, the CEO kind of hardworking, go, go, go woman can lose sight of her feminine.
Mm,
And then you've got women who are like so in the feminine, but they're out of touch with their inner masculine. So
exactly.
we need the holding. We need the somebody I heard described it once as you have to have the solid river banks for the wild waters to flow.
Exactly.
And the
Yeah.
wild water is the feminine. But the wild water, if you don't have the riverbanks, it's going to flood everything and damage, like Kali,
Yeah, exactly.
it's kind of like this
Right.
wild, disruptive tsunami
Mm,
that just destroys and destructs everything. It's not a safe energy and it's uncontained.
right.
So for the feminine the woman that's really deeply in the feminine, that is so sensitive, that is very in flow, that is really in touch with her heart, um, often what's needed is the safe holding. So actually, we need that in our relationships, but also within ourselves. So harnessing the inner masculine so that you have, for example, structures in your day or safe spaces that you can allow your feminine to flow in,
Right.
but where it's contained a little bit.
I absolutely agree. And honestly, when you tune into that inner masculine, you just feel hotter. I'm just like,
Yeah.
life just gets more sexier when you're tuning into your like masculine energy and that energy gets to hold you. It's
Yes.
so powerful. Um,
Yeah.
so, because oftentimes I think we get stuck in like, oh, the feminine needs to be this soft and, this
Yeah.
flowy thing. But I love what you said of like, it could be a Kali too, where she's powerful, she's fierce in the feminine, but she needs Shiva as a reminder to be like, hey, wait on, we have this structure. You don't want to
Yes.
like, overdo it. It's not overdo it, but it's like bring it back into balance a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
like for me
It's
personally, I needed to do like strength training. Like I really
yeah.
needed to like gain some strength in my body to create those structures outside. And I'm still working on it. But
Yeah.
it's powerful work, right? When you start noticing where you are energetically. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then, you know, if you're the other way, and I can fall into this category more where
Mm-hmm.
like the doer, you know,
Yeah.
the doer, the person's like, you know, ticking stuff off and like, you know, go, go, go. And for me, it's like I've got to come into the feminine. I've got to make myself
Mm,
come into connection with my body because I will ignore her, you know?
right.
So I'll have to make myself come back into the body despite the resistance
Mm,
and meet what's there, you know. And then often there's like a big flow of emotion where I've been holding all this stuff without even
right.
realizing it for maybe
Mhm.
days or weeks, you know.
Isn't that
So
wild when that happens?
yes,
You're just like, oh
yeah,
shit. Like,
yeah, yeah,
reel yourself back in. You've been doing this for a while. It creeps up
yeah,
on you, those patterns sometimes. Yeah.
yeah.
And so, how do you bring yourself back in? What are some
Mm.
tools? What do you, I guess,
Yeah, I
do?
for me, my altar is just such a anchor point. So when I enter the space with the altar, it's like I can start crying before I've even got there
Mhm.
because I know that that's my holding space. That's the space that I immediately associate with feeling free to be in my emotions and be held,
Right.
to be held by those unseen, within those unseen realms as well, to be held by my ancestors. And so that for me is like a very, a place where I process, I would
Mm,
say,
mhm.
and feel supported in that. And also, I think, yeah, spaciousness, and anything somatic that is going to get me into my body.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. And what are three things? And it might be, I guess, yeah, it might be hard to put into like words of like, these are three things you can do to kind of tune into your inner self today. But I am going to ask it because I think many women need kind of starting points of where they can kind of look and bring their inner flashlight to. So what three things, for women who can just start looking at their patterns and everything today and get started today on some of this stuff, what would you recommend that they can look
Yes.
at or tune into?
So one of them is, what are you avoiding the dissolution of?
Mm-hmm.
The big one. It's like, you know, it can be subtle or it can be a bigger thing. So, for example, I was in this pattern of shoving everything into my wardrobe in a huge mess. So it was like I couldn't see like what's in there. It just felt I was holding shame around it. And I kind of felt like, okay, if we were going to move into a dream home, right? How would it feel if I'm in this dream home and my wardrobe is like that? I was like, this is what I mean about the pleasure piece of it wouldn't feel pleasurable because you're just shoving everything in the wardrobe. So I made a decision of that pattern needs to dissolve.
Mm,
And I got somebody to help me actually to organize it, to help me see where do things need to go and how do I organize it. And I cannot believe the follow on impact in my life that it's created, where
incredible.
it then inspired my husband to make changes to different parts of the house because he was like, oh my gosh, this is what our home could look like.
Mhm.
And then as soon as we started up leveling the home, we started getting these downloads of we need to move. And it was kind of like we very quickly shifted into a completely quantum leaped into a
Wow.
completely different reality where we're now looking at our dream home that was just not even in existence in or a possibility at all in January.
Isn't that wild? Just like that
Yeah.
little energetic tweak of
Yes.
maybe, what the clothes were carrying and what they meant for you and your body. It was holding everything at bay. And then
Yes.
boom, the floodgates open.
Yes. It was
Just
like, I'm
tweaking
not
it.
worthy of receiving. There was something about I'm not worthy of receiving
Mm.
pleasure in my wardrobe.
Oh,
And the tiny
painful.
shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the tiny shift opened the floodgates. It's so wild.
Oh my
So
God, I'm
what is
so
it that
celebrating you.
you're,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
thank you.
Go ahead.
And yeah, and it's amazing, even as an intelligent woman, right? This is the thing. It's like there's these parts that still, it's like little survival patterns that like are just holding on there,
Yeah, they're
even though
funny.
we've moved, yeah, even though we've moved so far. So what is it that just you just need to sometimes decide, I'm not doing this anymore.
Mm,
I'm not doing it. It can be as simple as that sometimes. So what is it that needs to dissolve? A relationship, a pattern. And so following on from that, what is the what is the action
mm,
from it?
okay.
Because so many people just get stuck in awareness. I'm aware of this pattern, but I'm still sitting with it 40 years later. So even if it is a small shift, and this is where people don't always see the power of that accumulation.
Mm,
One small shift can create this, like with the wardrobe, right? It's like it can create a stacking, a very quick stacking, or it may be a longer stacking, and you think that nothing's happening, and then there's
sleep.
the quantum leap comes in.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've seen that too, where it's like you keep stacking, and you just need a little bit more patience because you're still in the oven, right? And things
Yes,
are,
it's still needs baking.
it's
Yeah.
still you're still baking. And yeah, it's just to keep that in mind too, that continue to make those shifts. You'll see the big, I guess, shift happen eventually, right? Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And the third thing is, what are you denying yourself full permission to
Mm.
claim?
I need to listen to this one. Yeah.
Because of the stories of that makes you a bad person, that makes you greedy, that makes you a bad daughter, that makes you a bad 30-year-old, like
Mhm.
whatever it is, it makes you a bad mother. What is it that you're denying yourself? Because it's so easy to blame other people. I blamed my husband for so long around my patterns. I would project it onto him and created this story of he's not letting me do these things. And actually, it was just kind of like a bit of a scapegoat for the fact that I wasn't brave enough to take the courageous leap. So where is it that you are not giving yourself permission? What do you want to do? Like, is there something that you really want, that's been sitting there? Your soul is like, I need to do this thing. I need to go on this trip. I need to start the business, or I need to make a change in my business, whatever it is. What is it that you're not fully giving yourself permission for?
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, those are such beautiful, reflective, answers. And I think a lot of the viewers, I mean, I'm certainly going to be looking at this and listening back to it, have gained so much, I hopefully a lot of wisdom from you, because I certainly have. And now we're almost at the, hour and 30 mark. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the world, especially where we're at today as a collective, as humans? Is there something that collectively you would like to put out there in the ethers for people to know, as
Yes.
they're navigating these times?
Yeah. So what I would say is it is a damn shame in the current climate where there is so much destruction And so many women, it makes me emotional, do not have the choices to be in such magnificent, thriving, and potential. They literally don't have that choice. It's a damn shame when we are in the position to be able to claim that for ourselves and we don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have a responsibility almost for what we do with our lives. We're often, a lot of us, if you're listening even to this episode, you have enough privilege to be able to take powerful actions for yourself.
Mm.
And that action, you empowering yourself, claiming more for yourself, it is claiming more for every woman.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ratika. That was so beautiful. I love what you're saying of be the change you want to see in the world. And the
Yes.
whole
Yeah.
starts from you owning your joy. I think that's the
Yes.
biggest message that you have is like, you know, take ownership of your joy, take ownership of your life. Don't let these conditions shape who you are and truly invite in pleasure, which I honestly think that's what we're truly here to anchor in, a lot
Absolutely.
of us, right? And so
Yeah.
thank you so much for holding space for women and for being such an inspiration to me personally too. And I would love to link all of her website, her social media information, so you guys get to tune into her and her work because it is powerful and you feel it. You deeply do feel it.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me in this space. And I can't believe that it's, yeah, how
Yeah,
quickly
right?
that time has gone.
Honestly, right? Like it just went by so quickly. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll have Rathika back because I feel like there's just so much to explore here.
Oh,
And
thank you. I'd love to be back.
yeah, it would be just even if you have a topic for her or both of us, we'd love to talk about it. And so I will see you guys next time. And Rathika, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.